Once upon a time in yesteryear, we had ourselves what was a trade saga that never really manifested into anything. It was mostly just rumors being tossed around and a trade request that was in there too, but at the end of the day, this player did not leave. He stuck around with his team, and he's still there today. We're going over to St. Louis and talking about their prized Russian scorer Vladimir Tarasenko. Because when it comes to Tarasenko and the way his story has gone, one may argue that there is still a little bit more than meets the eye as to how things appear to be heading down in the next few months. Tarasenko is 30 years old, he's 6 feet 225 as a left-handed right-wing sniper, and he's making $7.5 million a season till the end of this year. He's got a no-trade clause, so he has himself the ability to pretty much decide where he wants to go, but as it was very publicly mentioned a few years back, Tarasenko was the subject of trade rumors because of his own willingness to depart from the St. Louis Blues organization. He was always a really good goal scorer for that team, getting multiple 30, 140 goal season as well, until injury slowed him down in the 2019 to 2021-ish era. There, he only played 34 games and he had 24 points in total. But ever since returning to the St. Louis Blues, even though the guy asked for a trade, he still went out there and dominated on the score sheet. 82 points in 75 games played last season, back to form with 34 goals. The 2 seasons that he had where he was slowed down by injury, who cares? He was still a prime and poised NHL point producer. And there was no real indication that his trade request was rescinded by any means. He also produced 9 points in 12 games when the Blues went to the second round and lost against the... oh boy. Who did they lose to? That's right, it was Colorado. Yes, the Nazem Kadri water bottle throwing thing. That's when that was happening. But either way, this season the St. Louis Blues have gotten off to a pretty rough start. Now, I know they've won 5 in a row, and that's kind of part of the reason why they're okay in the standings right now. They're at 500 exactly. But if you remove the most recent 5 wins, there was a period where they were 3-8. So yeah, that definitely isn't great to see for a team that was as ambitious as St. Louis was heading into this season. And with forwards Vladimir Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly both expiring soon, things can be very interesting when you try to project what they do heading into the trade deadline and free agency period. This is why we have speculation linking Tarasenko, who still is in trade talks, to other teams. This is the TSN video segment that was on TV, featuring Pierre LeBrun. It's got Mike Johnson on there too. And the reason we're making this video is because of what Johnson says about Tarasenko, linking him to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, we're going over onto NHLTradeTalk.com because this article summarizes what exactly is said. We'll leave a link in the description to the article as well as the video itself. So if you want to watch the 3-minute segment and go over Johnson's comments in video form, that is available to you as well. But Mike Johnson of TSN notes that Tarasenko might be a great fit for the Oilers and thinks a trade makes sense. Specifically, Mike Johnson links the Edmonton Oilers to Vladimir Tarasenko. More specifically, he tossed out the idea as a suggestion more than a report that the two sides have anything brewing. He suggested that the Oilers look at Tarasenko after losing Evander Kane for 3 to 4 months. He noted, "Well, I'm going to go with what Pierre LeBrun just talked about. The Evander Kane injury opens up a massive hole for the Oilers that they will need to fill. And if you're willing to get creative, you can find a way to fit the salary in there." Salary is indeed important, as we said. Tarasenko making 7.5, however, it expires at the end of this season, so if there is some 50% retained sort of thing, then that's not too bad. I mean, 3.75 would not be the worst sort of AAV to get on. That's a big if being suggested by Johnson because the Oilers don't have the cap room to make a move. Sure, they will get just over $5 million in cap relief for a few months, and they could move a player like Puljujarvi, Tyson Barrie, Yamamoto, or Foegele to free up space, but that's assuming they find a taker for any one of those players' salaries. That's a lot easier said than done, and the Oilers need to find room to bring Kane back around February. This is the final argument made by Johnson. He argues the Oilers might want to consider this regardless of the status of Kane. He argues Tarasenko is a player the Oilers might want even with Kane in the lineup. And with the Kane healthy, there was still a need for one more top 6 forward in Edmonton. So whether it's Kane or whether it's Tarasenko, Patrick Kane that is, I think they both could be very good fits on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this is a really interesting point that's brought up here because when it comes to the top 6 of the Oilers, we always kind of said heading into the year that there were 5 spots pretty much solidified and another spot that was up for grabs. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Evander Kane. The final spot would either be taken by a Puljujarvi, or a Yamamoto, or a Dylan Holloway, who came in here in the preseason and showed off extraordinarily well. It's just, nowadays, you look at how exactly this team is playing, and, I mean, Dylan Holloway is there. He's a good young talent, it's just he hasn't been showing off so far in this season, the regular season that is, why he was put into the lineup in the first place. Puljujarvi is playing with McDavid once in a while, but yeah, no, he hasn't really been producing, and Kelly Yamamoto, he's been out for a while, he just recently returned, and he is not doing all too great either. You could very well say that a Patrick Kane that is, or a Tarasenko would be an immediate upgrade over any of the other guys that they have rotating in their top 6 when everybody is healthy. It's just, what exactly is the price going to be? Well, there's a difference between the price now and the price that actually brought itself up like 2 years ago pretty much, when Tarasenko was available for Seattle and they passed on him, they took Dunn instead, when Tarasenko was in all the trade rumors under the sun. Because back then, there was term on the contract. Now, he is just a rental. He's going to be on your team until the end of 2023, and assuming he does not re-sign an extension, he'll be going to the UFA market and getting the bag elsewhere afterwards. So, the price probably would be a little bit less, I would think. Or maybe it might even be a bit more. Who knows? You could go both ways with it, right? Oh, the price is less than it was before because he's only on your team for a few months. Or the price is more than it was before because there's no longer any uncertainty as to how well he's going to perform coming back from surgery and all the injuries that he had sustained. Because we know he is still a point-per-game caliber player, that makes him more valuable, therefore his trade price went up. You could probably say both things, and I guess you might be able to say they cancel each other out. So maybe we're looking at a price of a first-round pick and a top prospect, a B prospect, let's just say, and then maybe a roster player coming back. That's kind of the standard package that we see for anybody that's actually of value that's put onto the trade market. We saw that with Chychrun, we saw that with Eichel for some reason, we saw that for Miller, and we saw that for Tarasenko as well. Who exactly could the Oilers go out there and send away in a trade? Well, I don't really know where to go with that. Honestly, it really depends on what the St. Louis Blues decide to do with their own direction. If they decide they want to get younger and they want to retool on the fly, then sure, getting a younger prospect that is a little bit closer to NHL readiness than somebody who's going to be drafted in 2023, that might make sense. But who knows if the plan is to do something like that, to get younger and to just kind of disregard the now of the St. Louis Blues, because there are some really good players that are on that squad, and you did have some playoff success last year, carrying over from playoff success in 2019, so we'll see where exactly the Blues go with this. But for the Oilers, if you're thinking about prospects, there are a lot of names that pop up. You've got Luka Munzenberger, you also have Xavier Bourgault. These are 2 guys that you acquired in the Jesper Wallstedt trade pretty much, because yeah, you passed up the opportunity to draft that guy. Raphael Lavoie is still a prospect here, as is Philip Broberg, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below who you think the Oilers should be able to send away in a trade like this for Tarasenko. If you're a St. Louis Blues fan, what is it that you want for Vlad? We know he's good, and he's been good the past little while, ever since he's been fully restored as an 82-game season hockey player. But what is the price on the market for that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99, and bye.